All right. So when I tell you to solve, I want you to get x by itself. Okay? Get x by itself. And you're going to use those properties we talked about last time. The addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, substitution. Properties that we've used for years and we just didn't give them a name. So you always look at it as you need to get this x by itself. Well, what is bothering x? The 3's on there. And how is 3 connected to x? By an invisible multiplication. Well, what's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So you divide both sides by 3. And I always start by putting a line through all the equals. Okay, so that I don't mess up the sides. So now, if I divide both sides by 3, 3 divided by 3 goes away. And we have x equals, guys, what was 372 divided by 3? 124. Okay, and we're done. I promise you, if you plug this back in using the substitution rule, 3 times 124, you would get 372. So now let's look at this one. We have x minus 428. What is the opposite of subtract? Plus. So we're going to add 428 to both sides. X equals, what would you guys get? 253? 50 what? 17. Okay, I just couldn't hear you. Pull your mask up. Okay, 217. Any questions on that? Now, if we look at this, we're going to start explaining to the reader. We're going to give them directions. What did I do? What did I use here? The reason I could do this was the division. Property of equality. That's what we did in our notes last time, where we watched the videos and everything. Okay, this one was the addition. Property of equality. Okay. Now let's look at this one. You could solve this one 2 ways. The first would be to use our distribution property. And I do want to show you this. Oh goodness, where did it go? Right, here's our properties from last time. We're going to use our distribution property that lets you multiply onto numbers. So using the distribution, 2 times x is 2x, 2 times 4 is 8, and we're still equal to 80. Now we're going to use what? Are we going to get rid of the 2 first or the 8 first? The 8. I'm going to stop and tell you guys my little story. And so I want everybody to stop and pay attention to this. You're always trying to get x by yourself. You are x. Okay? Pretend that you are sitting on the couch. Here you are with your best friend playing the game console of your choice. Now, when I made up this story, it's when game consoles had cords, okay? But it's still irritating. Suppose the 8 is your little brother that keeps running around trying to get your attention while you're playing the game console of your choice. Who are you going to kick out? Your best friend or your little brother? Your little brother. You always want to get rid of the little brother, the number that's farthest away from you, okay? So you're going to get rid of the little brother. It's a positive 8 little brother. So you're going to minus 8 from both sides. You just use the subtraction property. So now you have 2x equals 72. And now my story goes, you're playing with your best friend, and you know it's dinner time. If your best friend stays for dinner, you're going to have to share the last piece of leftover pie from the night before. And you are not a sharer. So now you're going to try to figure out how to get rid of your best friend. Okay? Well, that's 2 times x. How do you undo times? Divide. So x equals 36. So then we use the division property of equality. Now there's a second way to solve this. Did anybody solve this in a different way? You can use the division property first if you want. Okay? So it doesn't quite fit our story, but it's like you and your best friend here are close sitting on the couch, and now this is your little brother that's rotating, right? He's the one that's farthest away from you. So you're going to get rid of the 2. Well, it's 2 times this, so we're going to use our division property. And you get x plus 4 equals 40. And now the 4 is your best friend, so minus 4, use the subtraction property, and you get x equals 36. Okay? You're trying to like unpeel all the layers surrounding x till you get x all by itself. Lastly, what property do I use here? Somebody tell me the property that we did for 4. Substitution. I know it says 4 times some mystery number squared minus 2 times some mystery number plus 5. It's not, there's no equals, there's no equation. But then it says, hey, wait, look, the mystery number is -2. So since x is -2, or is the mystery number, we can plug it in. And I would literally type that right into my calculator just like that. If you didn't want to, you could do the work. And get 25. But I'm fine if you put it right in the calc and you would just get 25. Okay, so I wanted to review some of the algebra that you might have forgotten. And I wanted to show you that we're actually going to not just do the algebra, we're going to have to explain to the reader why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video. It says HJ. So I carefully look at it. HJ, the whole thing is 32. Okay. IJ is 18. So you could say HI plus 18 equals 32. You guys see where I'm at? Then how would you solve that? You would minus 18 from both sides. And get 14. Okay? It's just looking at a picture to set up an equation. All right, this next one, it wants us to solve for x and the missing pieces. So let's see, we have this piece plus this piece equals the whole thing. So you would say 3x plus 1 plus x equals 25. Then you would draw a line through your equals, and since these are on the same side, we could combine like terms. So our step is combine terms. So 3 plus 1 is 4x. Plus 1 equals 25. And now it's a you and your best friend problem. Minus 1 from both sides to get rid of the best friend. and divide both sides by 4, and you will get x equals 6. Okay, so x is 6. How would I then figure out the rest of it? We're going to use my substitution property and plug it in. We know that AC is 3 times x. Well, 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. And we know CB is just x, so CB is 6. Does anybody notice an issue with this? Exactly. The issue is that the picture is not to scale. It is claiming that this is 6 units long, but this one right here is 19. Be careful, sometimes the pictures don't match what it says. Really, it should have been like 19 and 6, right? The picture, you got to be careful that the picture matches. No. You need to wait. Okay. Find the following. This is the same thing. We're going to say this much, 9 plus 4x plus 15 equals the whole thing, 10x. How is this one different? Look at the setup for B and C and tell the person behind you how this one is different. And then back row, talk to the person next to you. The difference is that this one had x's on the same side, and this one has x's on both sides. So it changes your story a little bit. Okay? I'm going to go back to this one real quick. You don't have to write this down, but I want to point this out. What we're saying is that over here we have 3 x's, 3 mystery numbers, plus 1, plus another mystery number. And we basically have it on a teeter-totter that we're trying to keep balanced. We know that this stuff equals 25. Okay, that's what our equation says. So what's the first thing we do? We said, well, look, we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4 x's. I want all of you to watch this, especially those of you that struggle. Those of you that can solve equations, you don't have to watch this. But if you struggle solving equations at all, we're just saying, oh, look, we combined them. Aren't there 4 on one side? Now, how could we get the x's by itself? Well, it says minus 1. So what if I subtract this guy and one of these guys? Well, now I just have the 4 x's and 24 of those pieces. Okay, now, how could I get x's by itself? It says divide by 4. Well, what I'm doing is I'm saying, well, here's 1x, another. Let's divide this by 4. There are 24 pieces here. 24 divided by 4, I would take 6 of them here. So there's one group. 6 of them here. 6 of them here. And oh, look, 5, 6 left. So that's why x must be equal to 4. That's literally what we're doing when I say solve. It's the same idea, except for, and you didn't have to write any of this part down, we have x's on both sides. So we can't just say, oh, look, we have 3 x's and 1 x. We can't say we have 4 x's. We have to move them around. So what we're saying is we have 9 ones, and 15. And then I have 4 x's on one side and 10 x's on the other side. Okay, I can't just say then that I have 14 x's. Now my story problem is that you are X. Well, in this case, you have a split personality. You are in 2 rooms. You better get yourself together. So it doesn't matter which way you go, but I always like to go towards the side with the biggest number. So I am going to minus, well, before I do that, let's get my numbers together. I have 9 plus 15 singles. So I have 4x plus 24. This is really just 24 equals 10 x's. And then I want to move the x's together. So what if I took 4 x's off of both sides? Minus 4 x's on this side, minus 4 x's on this side. And now I have 24 equals 6x. See, 24 equals 6x. Well, then that would mean each x would be worth 4 little tick marks. Okay, so that is our algebra review. If x is 6, now we could plug it in. QR is 4 times 6, which is 24, plus 15. 24 plus 15, you would have 39. And PR, what did I do? Oh yeah. PR then is 10 times 6 or 60, and I feel like that did not work out. That says 48. What did I do wrong? Oh, what did I do wrong? Yup, thanks. X is 4. And how did I know? I looked at it and I saw if I did that, 9 plus 39 didn't make 60. So it had to, I messed that up. This needed to be a 4. Okay. 4 times 4 is 16 plus 15. That's 31. 31 plus 9 is 40. And that is the basic idea with all of this. So the same thing works for angles, okay? This piece, BAC, the blue, plus the red equals the green. And I'm not going to do a bunch of these, okay? I feel like you could do this. Well, real quick, 162 minus 140. This one would be 22 because the whole thing is 162 minus 140 and you get 22. This one I just don't even care, okay? Let's just try one of these. It says, and this is where you guys struggled. We have this much, and I want you to do this, 52 plus x plus 48 equals the whole thing, 2x plus 100. Get with your group and solve this, or at least one other person, and solve this problem. Watch, we're going to crank this out. So, in your group, you should combine like terms. That's the first thing. On the left side, we have a 58 and a 48. $58 plus 48 is 100. So we have x plus 100. You can't combine these two because they're on opposite sides. We have an x over here, 52, 48, and on this side we have two x's and 100. You can't combine them, okay? And then this side you have 2x plus 100. All right, well, we want the x's on the same side, so I'm going to minus x from both sides. And I have 100 equals, well, if I take an x off of this side and an x off of this side, I have 100 equals x plus 100. Well, what number plus 100 equals 100? Piper, what number plus 100 equals 100? Guys, what is it? 0. Minus 100 from both sides. If you minus 100 from both sides, we're left with 0 on this side. So the only thing plus 100 that equals 100 is 0. And if you go back to the picture, that actually makes sense because it's saying, all right, we have 0 x's, 2 times 0. We don't have this. Yeah, 52 plus 48 equals 100. Okay, so I'm going to leave that. We worked on that last time. We're going to do this last part. We're going to talk about a proof. A proof is a convincing argument that uses deductive reasoning to show why something is true. And we have a two-step proof where you have a statement on the left and the reason it's true on the right. Okay, your reasons it's true are in your notes. And so I want to look at this one. We have 2x plus 4 equals 10. How did they try to solve it? They tried to minus 4 from both sides. So what allows us to minus 4 from both sides? The subtraction property. And then what did I do to get rid of that 2? I divided both sides by 2, so that is the division property. It's property of equality. You could call it PO. And now I say x equals 5. And you're actually done, but they switched it. I don't like that. I don't know why it says that last step. There's no more. You are done. Okay? You don't need that. And then you're just going to tell me why you can do each step. In your groups, I want you to do this. For 2, I want you to fill out the steps. And then for 3, 4, and 5, I want you to solve it and then fill out the steps. So do the math and then tell me what you did in your groups. Go. All right, so for number 2, they've also already solved it for you. You can see here that it was minus 2. So the opposite of subtract 2 is add 2 to both sides. And so that was the addition property of equality. And then they had these canceled out and they had 3x equals 9. So we would divide both sides by 3. So it's the division property of equality. And we are done. Here you actually have to solve it first. So you ask yourself, who is the little brother? Which value is farthest away from n? And in this case, we have a 1, so we're going to minus 1 from both sides. And we have negative 4n equals 64. So we use the subtraction property. Now we want to divide both sides by negative 4. The common mistake would be to add, but it's not n minus 4. It's negative 4 times n. So we have to undo the multiplication. So we're going to use the division property. And we would get x equals negative 16. Lastly, we have this one. Again, we want to get rid of the thing that's farthest away from r. So we're going to minus 3 from both sides of the equation. We have 9 equals r over negative 6. So we use the subtraction property. And now we're going to times both sides by -6. So we use the multiplication property, and we're left with r equals -54. We will finish the rest on another day.